So imagine you are building a beautiful house. You build it brick by brick.
Right, a very solid foundation.
Exactly, and that is your intermediate English. You have walls, you have a solid roof, you can live inside it safely.
You can invite guests over, have a nice cup of tea.
Yeah, you can travel, you can ask for directions and, express your basic opinions, but stepping out the front door.
Oh, surviving in the wild.
Right, surviving in that fast-paced, wild hurricane of native-level English, that requires completely throwing away the blueprint that got you here in the first place.
It really does. It's a huge shift.
So, for this deep dive, we are looking at a really fascinating set of notes. We're talking about how you, the learner, can jump from intermediate B1 English to advanced natural C1 English.
And it is a massive structural jump. Reaching that B1 level is a wonderful achievement, truly.
It's huge. You should be proud of it.
Absolutely, because it means you understand basic communication. But reaching C1 is, well, it's an entirely different world.
Yeah, people at the advanced level just sound so natural.
They do. They catch fast jokes, they understand subtle cultural humor, and they express complex emotional ideas without, pausing to translate in their head.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why do so many students get stuck here?
That is the big question, isn't it?
I mean, it feels like they study grammar rules for years. They fill out hundreds of workbooks. But they still feel frozen when a native speaker starts talking quickly at a coffee shop?
Yeah, just totally frozen.
Why does this transition feel so impossibly hard?
Well, basically because they are still treating the language like a math problem.
Like a math problem. How so?
At the beginner levels, treating English like a math equation actually works. Subject plus verb plus object equals a correct, safe sentence.
Right, you just plug the words into the formula.
Exactly. But at the advanced level, you have to shift away from learning formulas. You must move toward natural fluency.
And how do we find that natural fluency?
It is driven by deep, massive exposure to the language. You have to stop analyzing and start absorbing.
I look at it like navigating a new city. When you focus only on grammar, it is like studying a paper map of London in your quiet bedroom.
That's a great way to put it. You know the streets on paper.
Right. You know where the streets are, you know the traffic rules. But immersion, surrounding yourself with the language, is stepping outside.
You're actually walking those streets.
Exactly. You see the traffic, you hear the slang, you feel the chaotic rhythm of the city. It's beautiful, but it's messy.
It is messy. And, there is a physical, biological reason for this in your brain.
Wait, really? A biological reason?
Yes. When you only study grammar, you are using the analytical, logical part of your brain. But when you immerse yourself by watching movies or listening to podcasts, your brain changes.
Like it builds new connections.
Precisely. It starts building new neural pathways based on patterns, not rules. Your brain needs repeated contact with natural, messy English.
Just to begin predicting what words come next. But wait, I have to challenge that a little bit. If I just turn on an English podcast, right, and let it play in the background while I cook dinner, am I really learning?
Well, that's passive listening.
Right. Isn't active, focused grammar study safer and more effective than just having background noise?
Grammar is safe, yes, but it severely limits your growth at this stage. Passive listening alone will not make you completely fluent.
Okay, so just cooking with a podcast won't make me fluent.
Not by itself, but massive exposure provides the foundation your brain requires. Without hearing thousands of hours of native speakers, your brain will never expect certain words to follow other words naturally.
Oh, I see. It's about setting up expectations in the brain.
Exactly. There is a core mindset shift from our notes today. I will say it slowly, and I want you, the listener, to really think about it.
Okay, let's listen carefully.
Advanced English is built through massive exposure.
Let's hold on to that idea. Listen to it again, and I encourage you to repeat this silently to yourself as a reminder. Advanced English is built through massive exposure.
Perfect. Here is a similar, vital idea from the research. Fluency grows through exposure to real language.
Again, let's let that sink in. Repeat it silently. Fluency grows through exposure to real language.
You're doing great.
So, if someone takes your advice, right, they put away the grammar workbook, they turn on an American movie, and they try to immerse themselves.
A very brave step.
Yes, but immediately they hit a solid brick wall. They might know the vocabulary on paper, but they cannot understand a single sentence the actors are saying.
It just sounds like noise.
Exactly. Why? Because native speakers talk incredibly fast.
Yes, the speed is the biggest shock. But it is not just about speed. It is about how English physically works as a language.
What do you mean by physically works?
Well, English is what linguists call a stress-timed language.
So what does this all mean? What does a stress-timed language actually mean for our listener?
It means that the time between the stressed, important syllables in a sentence must remain exactly the same.
No matter how many other words are in there.
Right, no matter how many other words are squeezed between them. Because English speakers subconsciously must keep this steady rhythm, they are physically forced to squish all the less important words together.
Just to stay on the beat.
Exactly, and this creates what we call connected speech.
Ah, I see. So it is like playing music. The beat of the drum must go on.
Yes, a steady drum beat.
So the small, unimportant words had to speed up to fit into the rhythm of the song.
Precisely. Native speakers do not say every single letter clearly. They reduce the sounds.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Let's look at the word for feeling physically relaxed. A beginner reads it and says comfortable.
Comfortable.
Or clear.
Right. Every syllable gets equal time and respect. But because of the rhythm of English, native speakers squish it down completely. They say comfortable.
Comfortable. Wow, the entire middle part vanishes.
Yes, it just disappears. And this happens to whole phrases, too. Want to becomes wanna.
I don't know, becomes dono.
Exactly. Let me becomes lemmy. Kinda becomes kinda. And going to becomes gonna. Now, a strict, traditional English teacher might say, that is just lazy, terrible English.
They might, yes.
Should advanced students really be learning words like lemmy and kinda?
It is not lazy at all. It is entirely natural and efficient. It is how human mouths save energy while maintaining the language's core rhythm.
So it's actually advanced mechanics.
Yes. If you do not learn the mechanics of connected speech, you will simply not understand native speakers in real life.
They aren't trying to confuse you.
No, they are just keeping the rhythm.
Okay, let's turn this into practical practice. Practicing complete phrases is the best way to improve the rhythm of your speech.
It really is. It helps your mouth feel the music.
Let's look at a very common travel phrase.
Yeah.
On paper, it is written as, what do you want to do?
But native speakers blend it. It becomes, what do you want to do?
Listen to how those sounds flow seamlessly into each other. What do you want to do?
We strongly encourage you, the listener, to practice this phrase out loud right now. Speak it with confidence, blending the words. Ready? What do you want to do?
Say it one more time. Feeling that natural musical rhythm. What do you want to do?
That feels much more natural.
It flows like a river instead of dropping like heavy stones.
It does. And this brings us to another key mindset shift from the research. Advanced listening requires understanding connected speech.
Let's pause and remember that. Please repeat it silently. Advanced listening requires understanding connected speech.
Great job. Now, once your ears adjust to that connected rhythm, there is a new challenge.
What's the next step?
The next massive challenge is upgrading the words coming out of your own mouth. At the intermediate level, you know a word for a situation.
Like you know a basic word that works.
Right. But at the advanced level, you need to know the exact right word.
Yes, moving to C1 means developing incredible vocabulary depth.
It is about nuance. Nuance means the subtle, slight differences in meaning.
And it is also about what we call collocations, right? Which are words that naturally live together.
Exactly. For example, in English, we say heavy rain, not strong rain. Native speakers know which words pair up, almost like a reflex.
I love thinking about this transition like an artist's paints. B1 vocabulary is like a basic set of colored markers.
You have red, you have blue, and you have yellow.
Exactly. You can draw a perfectly nice picture and people will know what it is. But C1 is like having a massive professional artist's kit.
You do not just have blue.
Right. You have navy, turquoise, and sky blue. You have specific shades for specific emotions.
That analogy highlights the mechanism perfectly. A B1 learner might say, I'm tired.
That is the basic blue marker.
Yes. But a C1 learner has nuance. They might say, I'm exhausted, meaning completely depleted of physical energy.
Or I'm worn out, which implies being tired from a very long, difficult day of continuous effort.
Or I'm drained, which means mentally tired, like water emptying from a sink.
Drained, worn out, exhausted. They all mean tired, but they paint very different pictures.
Beautifully said. And a major part of utilizing this massive artist's kit is stopping the mental translation process.
Oh, this is a big one. Intermediate learners often hear a word, translate it into their native language in their head, think of their response, translate it back to English, and then finally speak.
It's exhausting just talking about it.
Mentally translating is like using a very old, slow dial-up internet connection. It works, but the latency is terrible.
It takes so much time.
But thinking directly in English is like installing modern fiber optic cables. The information travels instantly.
That is exactly right. The cognitive load, the amount of brain power required, is simply too high when you translate back and forth.
A C1 learner processes ideas directly in English. So how do you build this fiber optic connection?
By reading extensively and producing language daily. Reading long articles or novels helps you absorb collocations naturally. You see how words pair together in their natural habitat.
And to practice thinking directly in English, the notes suggest describing your daily actions mentally.
Yes, walking around your kitchen thinking, I am opening the fridge. I am pouring cold water.
Or writing in a daily journal using only English.
Journaling is an incredibly powerful tool for building direct thought pathways.
Let me stop you there and push back a little bit.
Sure.
What is your concern?
If I am journaling in English every single day, but I am making grammatical mistakes in my journal because no teacher's correcting me, aren't I just permanently hardwiring bad habits into my brain?
That is a very common fear.
Yeah.
Really, it is. But the research shows the exact opposite.
Really? How so?
The goal of a daily English journal is not perfect grammar. The goal is training your brain to form thoughts in English without the translation delay.
Oh, so it's about speed and direct connection.
Yes. The fluency and speed you gain from this habit completely outweigh the risk of small grammatical errors. You can correct the grammar later.
But you must build the habit of direct English thought first.
Exactly. Perfection is the enemy of fluency.
That makes a lot of sense. Perfection keeps you frozen. So let's lock in a core concept here. Listen carefully. Advanced vocabulary is about precision.
Pause and repeat that silently. Advanced vocabulary is about precision. And here is the second part of that thought, directly related to that fiber optic connection. Thinking in English increases fluency speed.
Repeat that silently to yourself. Thinking in English increases fluency speed.
Now, thinking directly in English naturally leads to speaking it out loud.
Right, which is the ultimate goal.
But speaking at an advanced level forces learners to face a massive emotional barrier, the fear of sounding foolish and making mistakes.
Yes, it's very scary. Intermediate learners often hesitate. They pause mid-sentence because they are desperately trying to calculate the perfect grammar rule before they speak.
They want to be perfectly safe.
But fluent communication requires immense comfort with imperfection. You must shift from passive recognition, like just watching a video and understanding it, to active production.
You have to force the language out of your mouth, even when it feels clumsy.
Yes. So doing things like summarizing podcasts out loud in your living room or retelling a story to yourself in the mirror.
Just talking to yourself.
Exactly. And there is a highly effective specific technique for this called shadowing.
Shadowing. I've heard of this. At the beginner level, shadowing just means repeating words to practice pronunciation, right?
But at the advanced C1 level, shadowing is much deeper. You are imitating the rhythm, the emotional tone, the pauses, and the underlying melody of a native speaker.
Is shadowing basically like singing along to your favorite song in the car?
That's a fun way to look at it.
Well, when I sing along, I do not just read the lyrics. I try to catch the exact emotion of the singer. I breathe exactly when they breathe. I hit the high notes when they do. Shadowing like that.
That is a brilliant way to understand the mechanism. When you shadow a native speaker like a singer, you activate mirror neurons in your brain.
Mirror neurons.
Yes, your brain naturally tries to mirror what it hears. You match their energy and their melody. This physical act helps you break free from sounding flat, like a robot reading a textbook.
Because nobody wants to sound like a textbook.
Exactly. It trains your mouth and throat muscles to produce natural intonation automatically.
I love that. Give yourself permission to be an actor. Put on a performance.
Yeah.
There is a phrase in our notes that I think every B1 learner should write on a sticky note and put on their bathroom mirror.
What is the phrase?
Confidence is part of fluency. You have to give yourself permission to be a little messy.
Take a moment to really internalize that. Repeat it silently. Confidence is part of fluency.
And the practical application of that confidence through active production. Shadowing helps students sound more natural.
Repeat it silently to yourself. Shadowing helps students sound more natural.
Shadowing brings us right to the final, most refined piece of the advanced English puzzle.
The music of the language.
Right. We mentioned rhythm earlier when we talked about connected speech, but let's talk about the actual larger music of an English sentence.
Every language has its own unique music. As we discussed with stress-timed rhythm, English relies heavily on sentence stress.
This means that inside a single sentence, certain words naturally carry more power, length, and volume than others.
Yes. Here's where it gets really interesting for the learner.
In English, we stress the words that carry the most core meaning. Usually the nouns, the main verbs, the adjectives.
Right, the heavy words and the small grammar words, the prepositions and articles, get squished down and rushed over.
Let's look at an example to show exactly how this mechanism works.
Imagine the sentence, I want to go to the store.
A beginner, focusing intensely on perfect grammar, might give every single word the exact same volume and time.
I want to go to the store.
It sounds very rigid and unnatural, because all words are treated equally.
But a native speaker stresses the action and the destination. The rest is just filler to get to the important parts.
Let's try practicing this full sentence to really feel the rhythm of this speech. I will say it slowly, emphasizing the strong words. I want you to repeat this out loud with energy. Exaggerate the music. Ready? I want to go to the store.
Let's try it one more time. Focus on those heavy beats. I want to go to the store.
It feels like a drum beat. When you understand that drum beat, your listening comprehension skyrockets.
Why is that?
Because you stop trying to hear every tiny grammar word, and you start listening for the heavy, meaningful words. Your brain fills in the rest.
Yes. And you learn to hear that drum beat fastest through context. Learning through context means you must consume meaningful, emotionally engaging material.
Do not just force yourself to read dry grammar textbooks.
Read about business, psychology, health, history, or technology. Read about what you are genuinely passionate about.
Because if you focus on topics you actually care about, learning stops feeling like a chore. You forget that you are studying English.
You are simply learning about the world.
And English just happens to be the tool you are using to get that information.
Exactly. When you read or listen to something you genuinely love, your brain's cognitive load decreases.
You are not fighting boredom and trying to translate a language at the same time.
This naturally, effortlessly increases your immersion time. 3 hours watching a documentary about your favorite hobby feels like 10 minutes.
That is massive exposure without exhaustion. That is the secret engine of fluency.
Interest drives exposure, and exposure drives fluency.
Let's highlight a key thought here. Natural rhythm improves comprehension and pronunciation.
Pause and repeat that silently. Natural rhythm improves comprehension and pronunciation.
We have covered so much ground today, and if you are tracking with us, you are doing incredibly well on your learning journey.
Synthesizing all of our notes, the main lesson is very clear. The journey from intermediate B1 to advanced C1 is not about achieving perfect, error-free grammar.
The journey is about massive exposure.
It is about understanding connected speech, developing vocabulary nuance, and thinking directly in English without the dial-up modem of mental translation.
It is about active communication, shadowing native speakers with emotion, and finding the natural drumbeat and rhythm of the language.
It takes thousands of hours of contact with real English, but little by little, your brain physically adapts.
The language stops feeling foreign.
And it starts feeling like a natural extension of who you are.
So, we warmly encourage you, listen daily, read constantly, speak out loud in your room.
Make mistakes, make a mess, and laugh about it.
Allow English to become a normal, living part of your daily life. Before we go, we want to leave you with a final thought to explore on your own.
What is the thought?
If true fluency comes from massive exposure to things you actually find deeply interesting, well, what is one specific topic you love in your native language?
Maybe it is a niche hobby, a specific sport, or a favorite type of comedy show.
Exactly. What is one thing you love that you could start consuming completely in English starting today?
That is a wonderful question to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep building your fluency. You are doing a fantastic job.